Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope you're well. The NFL draft is once again history, this time the 2021 version, and there are a number of people who are exchanging their opinions regarding what different organizations have done. As you know, this organization, Zennie62Media, was built in part on coverage of what the Oakland Raiders, now Las Vegas Raiders, did, mostly off the field with respect to facilities and stadium, but in equal parts, actually, by measure, also on the field. And this is particularly true with respect to the draft. In past years, we've had a lot of negative things to say about the Raiders and what they did. And the Raiders have on more than one occasion given us reasons to offer negative opinions, like when they drafted Darius Haywood Bay way too high, or most recently taking Cleveland Farrell at number 4 when they could have had Lamar Jackson. The list goes on and on and on. But I have to say, this time, this NFL draft, the Raiders got right. And let's take a look at who they got. Round 1, of course, offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood from Alabama. Number 2's the coveted safety Trayvon Moehrig, who actually the Raiders went up to get. Round 3, defensive end Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo. Sound familiar? Round 3 again, pick defensive back Divine Diablo. Round 4, safety Tyree Gillespie. Round 5, cornerback Nate Hobbs. Round 7, center Jimmy Morrissey, which makes everybody say, hey, what about the possibility that Morrissey will, take the place of Rodney Hudson? Considering he's a 7th-round pick, it's a stretch, but he is a center, and he is drafted by the Raiders, so there is that possibility. But overall, I think the Raiders have finally got it right. They managed to achieve that balance between need player to hire and best athlete available to hire, which I think is what you need to do in this era of modern workouts and legal performance enhancing drugs and hyper specialized techniques for each NFL football position. But let's start with Alex Leatherwood. You've heard the complaints. Well, the Raiders took him too high, and he was a 2nd rounder. Well, let's think about that. If the Raiders had went up, let's say they went up to 10, and then drafted Alex Leatherwood, say, huh? But they stood pat at 17, and they let Leatherwood come to them. 17 is middle of the pack. It's not as they did with Cleveland Farrell, who a number of people had said was a lower round or 2nd-round pick. And, look, let's face it, he hasn't had that kind of career so far that justifies as high as he went and was picked. And even Mike Mayock said so when the gentleman was first brought in. He said that a lot of people are going to criticize us, but we brought him in for leadership and character. And so the Mayock Raiders were willing to pay extra for that. But in my view, I think Mike Mayock is a little too focused on character, and particularly with respect to Black NFL players. And I think it gets him in trouble a little bit. They has Nolan Milwaukee on his staff who once made racist comments about Cam Newton. And I can go on and talk at length about the racist tinge, okay, that has come through from time to time. And it's one moment, please. And so some racist tinge that's come through from time to time to time. But this time, there was none of that. They have a new defensive coordinator in Gus Bradley. And so let's count the picks. We have one person out of all of these picks, out of all these picks, only two were on offense. The rest, Trayvon Mooring, Malcolm Kuntz, Divine Diablo, Nate Hobbs, and Tyree Gillespie, they were all defense. So the Raiders are going to realize a significant upgrade, and in an area that a number of fans have yelled at about again and again and again, the defensive backfield. The Raiders brought in two safeties, one highly coveted, a defensive end that could make people forget Khalil Mack, but I doubt it, and a cornerback in Nate Hobbs that's known as a flyer and a hitter. So all of these players will make a contribution, either on special teams or on the standard defense. And if they all make the organization, there's no reason why they shouldn't. It makes the defense effectively younger. So that's something that when you looked at past Raider picks, you couldn't be so confident about their prospects. This time it's quite different. This time it really looks like the Raiders got it right. Now, does this spell playoffs or Super Bowl or anything else? My answer to that is no, it doesn't. It doesn't spell that at all. It simply means that the Raiders have a foundation. Now, let me say this about what I just said. I analyzed the past drafts of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers leading all the way up to their Super Bowl appearance. And what I found was interesting. In terms of just basic review of the Buccaneers draft, they never got a bad grade over the last 4 years, which means that they were building an organization, building a team that at some point was going to make the playoffs. Forget for a moment how far they went into it. And so really Tom Brady was one half the missing piece. The other half of the missing piece was coaching. The Buccaneers changed, as you know, how they ran their offense. They went from biscuit to short passes that surgically carve up the defense. Play action effectively used to carve up the defense. And they went through this evolution into that offense. They tried Arians' approach to start the season, got Tom Brady all but killed. And so by the third game, they started getting out of it. And by the seventh game, they were almost out of it. And by week 9, they were about completely out of it. And, by week 10, they were completely out of it. And it was between games 10 through 16 that Tom Brady clearly had command of the offense, but he also had the kind of offense he wanted to run. That was the missing piece. And so one can make the argument that was the missing piece for the Buccaneers the year before, because their defense ranked high both years under the direction of Todd Bowles, who I can't remember a time he put together a completely bad defense. So I think the Raiders are on that track. They need, if you take last year's draft, as Mayock said, that he hopes to get a bounce from last year's draft that applies to this year, right? And that's a great something to want to have happen. In fact, speaking of what Mayock had said, let's take a look more at Mayock's thinking regarding the Raiders draft and why, as this title says, he believes the Raiders got, as the term is here, exponentially better uh, than the year before. Here is Mike Mayock.
Video with the Review Journal. Obviously, today and this whole weekend, there was kind of a theme: offensive line, defense. Was it the way that the draft unfolded, or kind of what the preference was coming in?
I think it's a combination of both. I think we did want to address the offensive line. I think we've done it consistently since making some moves in the offseason. Really happy with Leatherwood. The kid we got in the 7th round is awesome, Morrissey. I mean, he was a walk-on at Pitt that ended up starting for 4 years, being a 2-time captain. The Senior Bowl called him the day before the game. He flew in and played most of the game at center and guard. He's just one of those overachievers. He won the same award that Hunter Renfrow won a couple of years ago as the top former walk-on in the country. So we love the 2 offensive linemen. I told you guys last night we knew we had to get better on defense, and I thought the board matched up with what we needed to do. I thought one interesting note today was that I had no intention of going here today. We had no intention of trying to get Tyree Gillespie, but at a certain point, he stood out like a sore thumb on our board. And again, it wasn't about need. It was about what we thought was a really good football player available much later than we thought he'd be available. So we traded up and got Gillespie. So we're really excited about that. But that's a long way to say, yeah, I think we knew we had to address our defense. We had to do it on all 3 levels. We're happy we were able to. And we also augmented that young offensive line some more. So very happy with the way it unfolded.
Talking about the defense, as we've seen the last couple of years, it's not real easy for young guys, especially in the secondary, to come in and contribute right away. How much of the improvement on defense is going to be based on the Arnett's and Mullins and the guys who picked the last couple of years, sort of stepping their game up this year and being the players you think they can be?
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. I think there's I've talked to some of our guys from the last 2 draft class, especially last year, like, okay, our production's got to be better from that group a year ago. The guys from 2 years ago have been pretty good football players, but we've got to get a bounce. Same thing with Arnett. We're looking for a bounce from those guys. It'd be great if we can keep them healthy and getting them to play at the level we expect. Same thing with Arnett. Then you combine it with the young guys we got in the draft. We're pretty excited about where we could be in the secondary. Getting them to play at the level we expect.
Hey, Mike, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. I know it's kind of hard to know what you're going to get out of the rookies until training camp and the season gets here, but just looking at the roster on paper, how do you feel about the blend that you have of young guys and also veterans that you have on the roster?
Yeah, I think, you go into an off season and you admit that you're not very good on one side of the ball and you've got to get better. So, it's been a process since free agency, trying to get better at all 3 levels. And I think we've got kind of an interesting mix. You look at the defensive line and, we got Solomon Thomas and we've got David Irving and, we've got Phylon and, we've got Quentin Jefferson. And then you kind of compare that, and we've got Malcolm Kuntz and Ngakoue. So there's a whole bunch of new guys on the defensive side of the ball at level 1. Level 2, I think we augmented with the draft pretty well. So excited with the Virginia Tech kid Diablo. And then you guys have already talked about the level 3 changes. We've got an awful lot of defensive backs competing, mostly young guys. We brought in Rasul Douglas, but we're pretty young back there. So to me, that's kind of a challenge is can the young guys play up to a level we need them to?
I asked you last night about the fact you got guys who are versatile and guys that are high character. So I'm curious, as you sit there as the general manager in that chair, how excited are you after free agency and a draft that you've accumulated so many high character and versatile guys for the 2021 Raiders?
We're excited about that. The first press conference I had here with John Gruden when I was first hired, we talked about foundation players. And I think when we stick to that prescription, we're pretty good. And we got a bunch of foundation guys. We got guys that love football, have a passion for the game, want to work hard, want to practice hard. We focused on that in free agency. We focused on it in the draft. I think John and I are kind of joined at the hip. That's the kind of guys we want in here, guys that are similar to us. You come in here for a reason because you love it. It's a privilege to be here, in my opinion and John's opinion. And I was on the phone with Jimmy Morrissey, and I thought the kid was going to jump through the roof. He was so excited. I mean, that's what we want. That's the excitement we want. Love the foundation type players, captains, guys that love to play ball. Love the versatility that you're talking about. The guy, Nate Hobbs today, people don't know much about Nate Hobbs. One of the most tough and physical corners in the entire draft.
Yep.
Why do we like him? Can play inside, can play outside, plays special teams. He'll come in and compete his tail off. So that's kind of what we feel good about right now, is that we think we have a pretty good mix, and most of the guys here really love it.
Hey, Mike, Jerry McDonald. When you look at all the guys you picked, I think the fewest games one of them has played is 39. You got other guys over, close to 50. So much experience. How much, in terms of college games, how much does that help as far as hitting the ground running? And because you're still not positive what your off season is going to entail. So what does that? How does that help get them going faster?
It's a really good question, and the reason it's in this COVID year, 2 years in a row, right, with all the uncertainties. You guys have heard me talk about all the uncertainties. How do you collect information? And what John and I talked about leading up to this draft is, let's hit it down the middle. Okay? Let's get guys that love ball. Let's get guys that we've seen a bunch of their tape, that their college coaches stand on a table for, that we know are going to come in here committed to play at the highest level they can play at. So all that tape, all that history, the ability to talk to coaches about kids that were there for 3 or 4 or 5 years and played 30, 40, 50 games meant a lot this year to us.
Hey, Mike, this is Vic. I wanted to follow up on the cornerbacks. What does Douglas bring to the mix, and what is your level of interest in Richard Sherman?
What did you say, Rasul Douglas? What does he bring to the mix?
Yeah, and what's also your level of interest in Richard Sherman?
Rasul Douglas, we think, is a veteran. I mean, when I was doing preseason games for the Philadelphia Eagles, he played for the Eagles. His ball skills were outstanding at West Virginia. Loved the way he competed. And we think he's going to bring a level of professionalism, toughness, competition. And I like the fact that when the ball's in the air, he thinks it's his. As far as Richard Sherman, I really don't have any comment about that.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you, you talked a lot, as you just mentioned, alluded to just a second ago, about the challenges the last 2 years with the COVID situation and all that. Kind of a two-part question. Just were you surprised that it went maybe as smoothly as it did this year, learning from last year with the guys you got, and just kind of how, as you mentioned, hitting it down the middle and so forth. And then just Alex and his visit to Las Vegas and seeing the facilities and just his impressions, your impressions of him visiting the facilities there in Vegas.
Yeah, the first part of that, as far as just hitting it down the middle, and it really did mean a lot. And I think John had a consistent philosophy. I had a consistent philosophy, and together it was all about just making sure we felt comfortable with all these young men, and we do. As far as Leatherwood is concerned, he had a pretty good trip here, and I only got to spend probably 10 minutes with him. I mean, this is a busy weekend for in this building, but we had him out to dinner the other night. I couldn't be there because I was actually sitting in here, obviously. But everybody fell in love with the kid, and he's very serious. He's a yes sir, no sir guy. He comes from the infrastructure at Alabama. He's used to the structure of being in a football building and what those demands are at the highest level. So what I liked about him was he was about business. One of the first things he said to John and I was basically, hey, I don't care where you all play me. I don't care. Just put me in. I'll play free safety. Let's go. I want to be part of something special. And that was, we didn't even ask him about playing right tackle. He just volunteered it because I think he understood. He's a smart young man. He's like, hey, all those rumors, like, no, I'm wherever you want me to play. So I think we were all, Tom Cable spent a lot of time with him. We were just all really excited to meet him and see his demeanor, which was, hey, I'm all about ball.
Mike, when we talked to Nate Hobbs, there was definitely a presence about him. You kind of felt it just even talking to him on Zoom. And you mentioned moving inside and playing inside and bringing the necessary toughness. Do you guys envision him starting there early on, or is it kind of a wide open thing for him?
Yeah, it's kind of wide open, and that's what I like about it. And Coach Miles and I talked about it this morning because he was kind of one of our targets heading into today. And what Coach Milos really liked was the versatility of, he's a 6-foot corner that's played outside, that ran 4.45 and was probably the most physical corner in the draft. And we believe we can move him inside and he can compete inside also. So that was one of the big things with him. And I'll tell you what was cool is about, 6 weeks ago, one of my scouts came to me and said, we got a guy that I think needs a higher grade here. And, I want you to get your eyes on him. And so I put Nate Hobbs on, and I was like, does this guy play hard? Does this guy compete? And I think the prevailing attitude was, what's he going to run? And he ran 4.45, and, our entire building kind of was on the Nate Hobbs train because you love his tape, and we were hoping he'd run a certain level, and he did.
When you got an offensive head coach like John, was it difficult at all to keep him from wanting to grab a skill position player in this, in any of the picks? Was he itching it all?
John, I love John. He's he was so good. I mean, we went into day 2 and we attacked the defensive side of the ball, and he was more excited than I was. Okay, and we came back in here today, and does John want to talk about a quarterback or a wide out? Of course he does. And is he going to walk over and point at the board and say, well, Mike, you got a grade on this wide out. Why wouldn't we go take him here? And I love that. And that's what it's supposed to be all about, right? Is conversation amongst two people that have done a whole lot of homework on these guys and what makes us better. And at the end of the day, you're right. John Gruden's an offensive guy. But what did we do all weekend? We tried to help our defense get better, and I give him a ton of credit for that. He was all in. He was excited. You should have heard him on the phone with the kids. I mean, there's nobody better than John Gruden on the phone. It's just awesome. So I could not have been happier with the way John supported the whole thing this weekend, and he knew, just like I knew, we got a long way to go on defense.
Hey, Mike, it's Paul here. Obviously, you're happy with your draft and you feel good about it right now. But now that it's done and you still got the UDFAs to get in the building and things, what now is the biggest question facing you going forward?
Boy, that's a hard one. I think the most important thing, the biggest question right now is just still the uncertainties with off-season training program. I think everybody around the league feels great today, right? Hopefully, everybody got a little better today and yesterday and the day before. There's a lot of optimism, but we all want to get back to normal. We all want to get all the rookies in the building. It's a little frustrating. We're allowed 20 people at rookie minicamp. I mean, it's still frustrating. We still can't meet in person. We can have hundreds of thousands of fans in Cleveland, but for some reason we can't meet in person in these buildings. But we need to get back to normal, and we need to challenge these young players to get better. And I think that's the biggest question mark I have is just, hey, when can we get back to normal? Let's get on the field. Let's see what these kids can bring to the table for us. And our coaches are so fired up downstairs. They're chomping at the bit. So without saying, I'm worried about this position or I'm worried about that position, this is more about getting 90 guys on the practice field and getting to work and see if we can build something special together.
And so that was the press conference with Mike Mayock. I want to show you guys something, and that speaks to his desire to want to get back to normal and everything else. It's really important to address that before we move forward, because that issue regarding the coronavirus is still upon us. I know there are people who want to think that we're over it, but the news today, if you haven't heard it, is that herd immunity is unlikely, and don't think this has nothing to do with the NFL. It has everything to do with it. And one of my concerns about going to the draft this year in Cleveland centers around the fact that at this point, only roughly 25% of the United States is fully vaccinated, where people have had both vaccines. I understand now the rate of people who've had a vaccine, one, is much higher. I think it's 45%, nearing half. But the bottom line is 50% of the population has not been fully vaccinated, okay? And with this, we still are trying to, as I say, get back to normal. But as I've said before to friends, and as I said last year, this is going to change things permanently. It may not be like it was last year, and we don't want it to be. We're adjusting, but the adjustments produce this term called a new normal. You've heard that before now, again and again and again, a new normal, right? And so what we got here is this says as the coronavirus evolves and the vaccination rate slips, the U.S. may never reach the threshold for, quote, herd immunity, unquote, public health experts say. Instead, COVID-19 will likely become a manageable threat that will continue to circulate. The question is how long is that going to take, and how is that going to impact our ability to come back? You have states like California, which have been under California Governor Gavin Newsom, extremely strict regarding shutdowns, regarding mask wearing, regarding behavior that follows the science and curbs the virus. As a result, the rate of people in California who are getting the coronavirus has plummeted dramatically. But that doesn't speak for the entire United States of America. And the other question is, what happens when California takes the foot off the gas, right? And then, of course, how is India going to impact California, given the number of people who live in California who are Indian or have Indian business or relatives that may want to come to the United States or have to for other reasons? That's up in the air. And then, of course, here in Georgia, only 25% of the population is vaccinated. And yet later this week, actually today, the governor of Georgia has completely opened up the economy. So now there's no longer any social distancing in a restaurant. You can just go and sit down. And it's left to the businesses individually to, if you will, police how they're going to deal with it. That's a bad sign. So again, because of this whole unevenness, coupled with the fact that there are people who don't want to take the vaccine. And because of that, the number of people who are taking it, the rate is going down. All of this is going to impact our ability to enjoy NFL football. Now, you can't, in this society, make people do things yet unless Biden turns around and does what some people thought he was going to do originally, which is declare martial law. But companies like the National Football League should and can help us get over that hump by having one little rule. You cannot at all be in a game unless you're vaccinated this year. Okay? And the NFL can help that along by having stand-up, pop-up vaccination centers right there at the stadiums to be able to handle, a limited number of people at a time, but a percentage that helps. And not only that, have it operated for the entire 2 weeks before a game or during the season. Okay? Something like that, which would really go, if you consider the number of people that watch NFL football, that would go a long way. Companies could have sponsorships and offer incentive packages to help that happen. So those are the kind of plans we need to talk about. But we are not out of this. And if you take a look at these reports regarding herd immunity, okay, Molly John Fast says that sucks and everything else. I don't want to make this show about herd immunity, But the point that I'm making is, Mayock has a right to be frustrated, but I'm frustrated that we as a country don't, for reasons that I think deserve a show unto themselves with experts as guests, don't add up to us achieving a resolution across the board. It shouldn't just be California. And again, my point with California is this. Does that mean that Niner fans in California can watch Niner games, right? It's supposed to open up in June. But what do we do to make sure this doesn't come back? And again, we don't. Okay, that's the case. So, and for the NFL needs help from the government and from corporations so that the NFL can, go back to the point of by getting us back to fully attending games. We can get people excited about, for example, taking the vaccine and moving forward, right? So those are critical. Let's go back, and as we go back and review the draft, let's go and meet Jimmy Morrissey, the man who Pittsburgh center, drafted by the Raiders, who is going to well, I thought the Raiders had an interview here. They don't. So let me try this another way, and do this another way. Regarding this should be interesting. What I was looking for was the call. This is the call, okay? And I found it. Jimmy Morrissey is ready to rock. He is ready to rock, and he's ready to rock and roll. And here is the call right now as we bring Mr. Morrissey forward so that you can hear what he has to say to his new bosses with the Los Angeles, I'm about to say Los Angeles Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. I actually had Las Vegas in my head, okay? I kid you not, all right? But at any rate, folks, here is the call right here.
Clock right here. I want to know, you want to be a Las Vegas Raider? You're hot, man. We're going to pick you. We are really jacked up, brother. You fired up?
Yes, sir. I'm fired up.
All right. Where the heck are you right now?
I'm down in Myrtle Beach with my family.
All right. You go tell your family to pack their bags. You're going to Vegas. All right?
Yes, sir. I'll let them know.
It's a great day. It's a great day for us. We're really excited, proud to have you aboard. I will call you later, but go enjoy this pick. You're about to be on TV.
I got you. Thanks so much.
All right, man. You bet. See it. Two good picks right there. That's a good day.
There's the call.
Yes, sir.
So that's the call presented by Modelo, a Raiders sponsor. And that was, they said Jimmy Morrissey. But here's the thing. That wasn't Jimmy Morrissey. The call says Jimmy Morrissey at the top. If you go to the Raider link, it says the call Jimmy Morrissey, but then the call says Divine Diablo gets draft call from coach. So I'm not responsible for the Raiders website, okay? And as you can see, it says the call Jimmy Morrissey, Radio Rock and Roll is a Raider. So when I click, that's what I got, right? Okay, let's meet Nate Hobbs. Another exciting pick by the Raiders that, as Mayock said, the building was really excited to, see and meet and hope that his speed matched the tape that they saw.
Hey, Nate, congratulations. Welcome to Las Vegas. Did you have talks with the Raiders during the draft process, and did you feel like that was a potential landing spot for you?
Yes, I had 2 interviews with the Raiders, and the first one just went so well. It was great energy, and I definitely felt like that was a team that wanted to take a chance on me just because of the great energy, and they were so ecstatic in the interview.
Hey Nate, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. I know you played a little bit both inside and outside in college, but when you are at that slot corner role, what do you think you bring to the table?
I think I bring a lot of physicality, size, speed, and matchup ability to the table. In that slot, I am a versatile guy. I feel like so in that slot, I can match up with a smaller, faster guy in the slot, or if they move a guy, an outside receiver in the slot, I can match up with him also. And I think I'm a guy who can blitz, who can recognize coverages, sit back in zone, man, everything. I think I'm pretty versatile.
Hi, Nick. You had said recently that you embrace the underdog role. Why do you like the underdog role so much?
That's just what I've been all my life. I don't know nothing else. I came into high school. I didn't play varsity till my junior year. A lot of people didn't know who I was, and I got on the scene quick and made the most of that. Got to college. I wasn't a high recruit. I was about a 2-star. I only had one Power 5 offer. I made noise when I was in college. That got me to the position where I am now. And I was a 5th-round draft pick. I'm thankful to God. I'm just so thankful to the Raiders organization for taking a chance on me. But I won't forget that. I won't forget the guys who are taken before me. The guys who I feel like didn't do as much as me, but were still picked up. And I'm just so thankful for the Raiders for taking a chance. They won't regret it. They're getting the best underdog they ever drafted. For real.
Nate, this is Hondo Carpenter from Sports Illustrated. I've actually covered a few of your games that you played in earlier in your career. And one thing that stuck out is you play defensive back with a linebacker mentality. Very tough. A lot of defensive backs don't like to get up and get dirty and get physical. You do. Would you talk about that part of your game and how much did the Raiders tell you they like that about you?
Really, that part of my game, I think it just comes from where I come from and where I've been. I went through a lot of adversity in my life, and I think that shows the way I play. I play with passion. I play with want to. And when I'm on the field, I'm going to enforce my will. I'm not going to let that happen because I feel like in football, one guy's enforcing and one guy's taking it. And I'm going to be the one that takes it, not receives. And the Raiders, they like that a lot about me. I think that's the one reason why they think I could play nickel. I could be a cover guy and a tackler, playing between the tackles and just be a versatile guy for them.
Levi Edwards with Raiders.com. Welcome to Vegas. A word that you just mentioned in that previous question was adversity. And you definitely have described yourself as going through a lot of adversity. What would you say is the biggest piece of adversity or the biggest obstacle that you have to come through to get to this point, whether it be on or off the field?
For sure. My uncle, my father passed away when I was about 12 years old.
Oh.
And we was already, my mother, she raised me, my little brother, my little sister, my big brother off $25,000 a year. That's 4 people under one roof, and without a father. And I just, I had to come up with that and grow up fast. And then my uncle, who's an influence in my life, a big influence, a father figure who's to come to all my college games. He passed away this past year. And my granny, she also died from cancer the year before that. So I've just, I've had to deal with some adversity and things like that. And I've had 4 college coaches at Illinois, position coaches, but all that, none of that can stop me. I feel like God's put me in this position for a reason. And as long as I'm not dead, as long as I'm still here, I'm going to keep going. So that's what that means to me.
Hey, Nate, first of all, my condolences on those losses and for coming through strong.
Yeah, I just want to say something real quick before I go back to that and about what he's talking about, because that's a red flag. But it's a red flag the Raiders can fix. Let me explain where I'm coming from. Hear me out for a second before we go back. My cousin Fred Lane Jr. was a running back with first the Carolina Panthers, and he was traded to the Indianapolis Colts, but he never got there because his wife killed him. His wife accused him of domestic violence as the reason for shooting him. But the truth was, he never hit her once. Fred Jr.'s family, my aunt and uncle, didn't like her and begged him not to marry her. Deidre did not want Fred to talk to the family, okay? And I say all that to say this. Black men who go into the NFL, who come from Southern backgrounds, as is the case with Fred, or poor backgrounds, and on top of that, go into a league and they're quite literally taken out of their culture, and there's no one to help them with a transition. There's no mentor. And what Mr. Hobbs is saying, loud and clear, is he needs mentors. And he would welcome that, okay? Because he's lost them. They have died. And he especially needs them now. And the Raiders need to develop an infrastructure to make sure that, particularly in Las Vegas, he doesn't wind up in the wrong place or robbed by somebody or with the wrong element. They need to make sure that they're taking care of his future off the field with a playbook for life that comes with Bible and that comes with places to go to have fun that are for him, where he won't get into trouble, that expect him to be there. I can go on and on and on. If he doesn't have that, he's going to go the wrong way, because what happens is that you've got, look, Mike Mayock and his staff, all those guys are white males, okay? And they don't understand how to think about what a black person goes through coming into the NFL in those situations, and how there are women in groups who have already tagged and pegged, and they're going to hunt after him and try to get what they believe he has, which is a lot of money. And that happens all the time. And the league does not have an organizational mechanism to deal with it, okay? It just doesn't. So it really needs to address this. Mr. Hobbs is screaming for that, and that's what I hear. And that's what I wanted to freeze this, and then we'll go back to what he's saying.
As you have.
Mr.
Lovie Smith, I would imagine, he kind of took you under your wings. That dude's pretty much an expert, especially in the secondary. How much of an influence playing for him did he have for you?
Coach Lovie Smith, he's a vital role to my success right now. He gave me the chance that put me on this platform that allowed me to get drafted right now and give me this chance. Because without him giving me that chance at Illinois, I wouldn't be here. And he's taught me a lot about the game of football, and him being an NFL coach, I feel like I'm already on that NFL level mindset wise, and I know how to carry myself like an NFL guy on and off the field. And I'm a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to NFL, the way things go, because I've had NFL Hall of Fame caliber NFL coach coaching me. So a lot of my success I can attribute to him, and I'm really thankful for that.
Nate, Levi Damien again from USA Today. You went to the same high school as Michael Bush, correct?
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
yes, sir.
So how much you know about him, and how crazy is it that you're basically taking the same path to the pros as he is?
That's really crazy. He went to Mill, went to college at Louisville, and taking the same path. He was at the Raiders, wasn't he? Hello?
He was with the Raiders.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I had to make sure I was right. But yeah, he was at the Raiders, so that's crazy. We're from the same place and really taking the same path, like you said. And I just think it's all God's plan, and I'm really appreciative too. I'm gonna have to reach out to him and give thanks for him for paving the way.
And man, you talked about what this moment means to getting drafted. What was it like? Just kind of after you take a breath, you hear what happened, we hear what team you're going to, and then you get to just kind of look around and think about the moment.
And it was was life changing. It was crazy. I'll never forget that moment. I got the call and it was John Gruden. It was crazy. I didn't even know what to say. I'm just like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Everything he said, I said, yes, sir, because I was just trying to, trying not to let emotions take me over. But it's a moment I'll never forget.
So there you go, folks. He's, as you can say, he's ready, willing, able. He's also young. And too often, there's this habit of forgetting that these are, as much as they may look like grown men, they are just out of teenage years, okay? And particularly as underclassmen. And they don't have it all figured out. And they're not back there saying, yeah, I got all this figured out. They need help. And I'm still concerned. I'm concerned the league doesn't yet have that in place, have that mechanism to help them so that you don't get situations where, Ray Rice is triggered, right? Or Junior say I was a case of something happened afterward, but you can have an Antonio Brown, you see the flags, you don't say things that trigger him, as Mayock did. So to me, we're in the middle of a crisis with respect to how the National Football League deals with the modern black player. And it's not something that isn't fixable. Quite the contrary, it is very much fixable. But it's something that should be fixed like sooner rather than later, so we can get on with the business of enjoying life. Leonard says he seems like a humble kid. Yeah, he seems like the kind of really nice guy that just wants to please. And he's like so many folks, and who come in the league, or people who, get their first new job, right? They just want to make their employers happy. And because they're happy that their employer selected them and hired them. That's a big deal, particularly coming out of college, Illinois, and it's big time College USA, and you dream of going to an organization like the Raiders, and then guess what? It happens, okay? It happens. And he gets to live his dream. But there's also that downside, and folks, in my many years of doing this, I can tell you that downside, and again, I point to Fred Lane Jr., that downside comes with people who come into your life, but they do not mean the best for you, okay? They do not mean the best for you. And Chaos Raider says the Raiders, this is a great idea. The Raiders should have the alumni and veteran players mentor the rookies, especially the ones who have struggles. Yeah, absolutely. Just, talk to them. That's a brilliant idea, Chaos Raider. I think that's the idea of the year. It puts Raider legends to work. It gives them a way to impart the Raider culture of the past. And also it gives them, father figures that they need but don't have. People like my friend who's been on this show, Ray Chester. I got to check in and see how he's doing. Would love that. Phil Villapiano would love that. Fred Bolitnikoff would love that. Morris Bradshaw would love that. Okay. So they're all out there, and I'm sure they do this on an informal basis, at least. Well, that's a wish thought. I mean, I hope they do, but since they've never formally announced it, maybe they don't, right? But it's something that needs to be done. It really does. Because Nate Hobbs' story of loss, as I call it, spoke to me. I mean, to me at that segment, he went from being an NFL draft star to a 10-year-old kid like that to me. Okay. I heard a 10-year-old kid explaining loss, and he did it in a way that was innocent, from the heart to the point, and also I think most notably, and why it hurts so much, matter of fact. All right, and there are a number of Nate Hobbs in the National Football League. And at a time where we have this left-right ridiculous political stuff, which has nothing to do with nothing, all right, it gets lost and it's not understood. And that's got to change. It really does. So, and this gets back to Mayock saying, you know, want to hurry up and get back to normal. But I think that, look, the virus issue is going to be taken care of, because we need to keep our economy humming if we don't get in our own way. I'm expressing a faith. But the NFL, to me, has a bigger problem in terms of how it takes care of its players and keeps them out of trouble. The NFL has to remember that the shield is its responsibility to protect. You can't ask the player that's coming in to protect something and they don't know how to protect it. What does that mean, protecting the sea or shield? I know what it means, okay? You know what it means. But someone else coming in, they have their own idea too. And not that their idea is invalid, but for them, protecting the shield means, hey, protecting their pocketbook. Got it? It means, and it means enjoying the life that's been built around them, okay? So let's get back to talking about the draft. I know some of you were thinking, it's got nothing to do with the draft, but my point is it has everything, okay? This has so much to do with the draft, it's not funny. This is about life lessons, and about what kids go through, because they are kids, what kids go through in growing up. It's not like, oh, you're in the NFL and you've arrived and therefore you stop growing up, although some people make the mistake and think that's the case, okay? So let's take a look at what others are saying about the draft, and in particular the Raiders draft. So I type Raiders like that, and there's this idea they might draft Aaron Rodgers. Let's get to that. Let's say Raiders draft first, and let's see what people are saying on Twitter. Raider draft vibes, and then this is the latest, okay? And let's see here. Derek Carr gave the Raiders an A, and then the Raiders draft means only one thing: the Brian Edwards sophomore breakout is still on track. Dynasty. Mountain Tactical tweets that, fact, if Raiders had used every draft pick to take the consensus best available player on the board, every anti-Gruden, anti-Mayock, anti-Carr, Twitter GM, as well as all professional analysts who ripped this year's picks would have still ripped them. Hashtag frauds, Raider Nation. Seth Woolcock says, I always enjoy the audio work of Swagzilla, something, and they break down all this stuff, okay? Raiders draft. The Raiders might draft top 5 and finally be able to get their QB. What's the date for next year's draft? Hopefully we have the 32nd pick. Next year's draft is in Las Vegas. So then we have draft review, Aaron Rodgers, Casey Hayward, Las Vegas Raiders talk. Okay. And we have, hey, everybody, welcome. We have then on day 2 of the draft, the Raiders hit Rod Martin, who intercepted 3 passes, whatever, okay? Raiders somehow have the worst and best value draft picks. So Todd McShay had Trayvon Morig as one of the best value picks, but then worst value. It's interesting. He says best value draft picks. Wait a minute, let me open this up. Okay. All right. So best value draft picks there. But I don't see, and then best value draft picks. He says best value draft picks, but I don't see anything else. I have to actually go through it to see what he's talking about. He should have posted 2 photographs. That is confusing, and I don't have the time to really dig through, or inclination, to really dig through, find out what he means. Raiders draft 2022 already being predicted. Let's see here. How about let's do this even better. Raiders draft grade. There we go. Okay. Raiders draft grades. All right, my grades, or Raiders draft grade. How about singular? All right. I was thinking grades. All right. Your draft grade for the Raiders is absolutely atrocious. Goathouse NFL. I know you're just a fan, but seriously, can't wait to see your face when you see this draft in 2-3 years. Feel bad. This is your worst take. I don't know what the Goathouse said. Goathouse NFL analyst said something about the Raiders that wasn't, kind. And since I have to dig through it and he didn't actually offer the tweet, forget it. Let me go back here. Okay. Prisco CBS gave the Raiders a D. A D. Broncos get an A. The Dolphins get an A. Raiders D. Eagles C+. Steelers C. Buccaneers C. Seahawks D. Browns B. What grade would you give your team? So to that, I ask you watching, what grade would you, okay, and I'm going to ask you right here and just type it in, all right? I'm going to type, what grade would you give the Raiders 2021 draft? Question mark. So here is, all right, what grade would you give the Raiders 2021 draft? There it is right there. Okay, there it is. All right. And so I'll wait for anybody that, okay, I am on my Raiders 2021 NFL draft grade is A. I'm giving the Raiders an A. Obviously. Okay. So I'm giving the Raiders an A. That doesn't mean you have to follow along. What do you give them? I'm giving them an A. CBS Sports headquarters, Prisco's giving the Raiders a D. A D. All right. Now the question is, why is he giving them a D? And let's go. I don't know. You know what? He's giving them a D. And then it says, Jeff Spiegel says, just read 2 draft grades pieces. One said Malcolm Coots, Raiders third rounder, was stellar value. The other crushed it, saying he's merely an athlete who happens to play edge rusher. Draft grading in a nutshell. This one gives Raiders a D-. If you just switched Leatherwood and Morig, this grade would be at least a full letter higher. But that doesn't really solve the problem of the Raiders being extremely bad with draft capital. If you like Alex Leatherwood, trade down. If you are so worried you'll if you're so worried you'll lose out on Alex Leatherwood, that a trade down is untenable. Reevaluate the way you think about football. He's a solid right tackle prospect in a tier of tackle prospects who are roughly interchangeable. It's okay to not have Alex Leatherwood. They have developed such a weird tendency to fixate on a prospect from a blue blood school, Alabama, that the rest of the draft community has lost interest in. Farrell, Mullins, Arnett. Stop doing this. Then, this is interesting, as they often do, they half redeem themselves with a pick like Trayvon Moore, Hurst, Crosby, and Arden Key. And then he says, Kuntz and Diablo are mildly, quote, interesting, unquote, to me, but trading up for Tyree Gillespie is the nail in the coffin. Mayock isn't cut out to be a GM. Broncos C-. They passed on Justin Fields for a corner they don't really need, and then traded up for a running back. Now I'll say this. Let me come back and say this about that. And here's Joseph Armandurs. Hey, Joseph, how are you doing? Welcome.
I'm good. I'm driving right now, so I want to look at the camera, but I wanted to participate by talking with you.
Yeah,
so
what do you do draft-wise?
B+. We talked about this the other day. I'm a hard grader, but I think, no draft is perfect, right? But I do think that they made some extreme strides. As I reported, I was reluctant about the Leatherwood pick. But what I come to realize is it was a position of need. One of the things when I look into some of the research is Mike Mayock and John Gruden did extensive research in not only speaking to Leatherwood himself, but also Nick Saban. So in hindsight, I think it was something that we needed to utilize. This was I think, under the radar player for whatever reason. I think he's gonna be a day one starter. For me, the redemption pick, obviously for everyone in Raider Nation, I think was a Merrick pick at 43. And so I think it was clever or the right thing to do with Mayock to move up. According to Mayock, some of the intel that he did have was the Cowboys were going to grab him. So that was the initial reason why that they pulled the trigger and moved up, I think, 4 or 5 slots to get Merrick.
It's interesting. I thought that, and again, the reason why I say A is simply because for their purposes, they had the best match of what they felt their needs were and what they felt they could get in terms of the best available player. And I don't feel like there were too many reaches here, unlike the past. Again, Cleveland Farrell was an obvious reach. And if something can be debated, then to me, it's not an obvious reach, right? In other words, if somebody can come in and say, well, hey, all right, the problem that people tend to forget when we're talking about the draft is it's not like you don't have other people there. And you pointed this out with respect to what the Cowboys might do. Drafting some people, and this is what I was trying to teach Mason Riggs. I don't know if you remember, we were having I think you were there. We had this kind of mock draft last year.
Yes.
And we made a trade, and I made a trade with Mason, but Mason thought that because I made the trade, I was supposed to pick the player he thought I was wanting to pick. And I did something completely different. He went off the rails. And I was okay. And I explained to them right then and there. I said, you have to remember something. When you trade with me, that pick becomes mine. It doesn't mean that I have to do what you want me to do. And that's just true in life. I mean, when you give something up, that is the Raiders' pick. They have their own criteria. As Mike Mayock told Peter Schrager, hey, look, I don't care what you think. And because they have their own needs, but also they're going to do what they can do at that particular level. Now, having said all that, I feel that the Raiders should have drafted a defensive tackle right there before they, rather than Alex Leatherwood. But there is a powerful case for Alex Leatherwood because the Raiders really did decimate their line. They really did destroy it. And I contend again that a lot of the reason why they did it was because they didn't understand how to renegotiate their contracts in the middle of the pandemic, or at least make some sort of promise like, hey, you know what? We're going to get this new TV contract. Maybe we can design an agreement that essentially allows us to get money now, and then we can pay ourselves back as the money comes in later, right? Kind of like a line of credit, if you will, if the league would allow that. There are all kinds of ways to design that. But the simple fact of the matter is the pandemic had a dramatically negative impact on the NFL's bottom line, losing billions of dollars. Really did. So Leonard Size says I'll give him B+. But that said, saying that as I just did, right? Also, let me go back and do this. Okay. I also believe that as I think about Alabama and
while you look that up, can I give a couple of thoughts? I'm like you. I did a 21 draft class overview on Zennie62 with the Raiders. One of the things that I agree with you was in my video that I did for you was that I do believe the Raiders should have went defense in the 17th pick. Now, my idea, my guy that I wanted, obviously, and so many other teams wanted, was Micah Parsons. Now, when I look at the draft order, the majority of the first round was offense, for the exception of the trade-ups that we could have made to grab him before Dallas, because 9, 10, and 11 all went defense. So I think Mayock, I'm sure, or someone in that Raider organization probably attempted to move up, but based upon the picks on 9, 10, and 11, I don't think it would have happened because they all went defense. With number 9, Denver picked Sartain, and that's another great defensive pickup.
Yeah, and also I have to note that Christian Barmore was the guy that I wanted the Raiders to get. The 311 pound, 6'5" defensive tackle that the New England Patriots wound up getting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I mean, Mayock said that, and I think as I think about this, I understand why. Mayock said that the person highest rated on their board was Alex Leatherwood. That means that he was rated higher than Barmore, and that means that at that level, when I say at that level, I mean at 17. Now, I don't know what their board looks like to say, hey, by the way, if you happen to trade down to, the Patriots pick, well, actually the Patriots pick level, then hold on a second. I'll be right back. I got to check something. Hold on. Hey, Joseph, tell them more about what you think about the Raider picks. Just buy me some time. I'll be right back. I got to check something.
Okay. So those of you who are watching, if you want to go and watch the video that I pulled up early this afternoon, the draft class review. So I went over each pick. The two I got to point out that wasn't in my radar was Malcolm Kuntz and Nate Hobbs. But when you look at some of the tape and some of the remarks by other analysts, these are high character guys that I think the Raiders have been pursuing for quite a while. And so I think the opportunity was there to grab some depth players. I don't necessarily think, Malcolm, the comparisons everyone's going to make with Malcolm Kuntz is the fact that he played at the same school that Khalil Mack played into. And obviously we know that he's not a Khalil Mack, but there's some intangibles that Malcolm Kuntz has that I think the Raiders really liked. If you heard his interview today earlier in 9:20 a.m., the radio podcast and the radio station for the Raiders, he's a very in tune kid. He seems like a very intelligent kid. He speaks his mind. He knows how to. You could tell that the brain cells are connected, and I think that's what the Raiders like. Above his physical abilities, he does have some intelligence. Now I see Malcolm as a specialist. Maybe coming in the third down. And, the one thing that he does have for him, he has good flexibility. He bends pretty well. And so I think in a blitz situation, I think he's going to be excellent.
I want to share this with you. These are the grades that this fellow, I don't know who he is, but I only note them because he managed to grade every team. I don't really like to grade teams, like to talk about them. I just graded the Raiders, right? But overall, because you need time to figure out how well your draft is going to impact. And like I said, starting out the program, the Buccaneers Super Bowl could be seen in the foundation that they built of players by how their drafts were evaluated by the public over the past 4 to 5 years. On balance, B+. And they just needed that extra tweak, and Tom Brady and an offensive change was the extra tweak that was provided. Now, does that mean that they're going to repeat as Super Bowl champions this coming year? No. Why? Because now the whole league has a book on what they're going to do and a different idea of how to play them, whereas last year, which was also severely coronavirus impacted, people were struggling to field appropriate teams. The Buccaneers were essentially figuring themselves out, and a team that might play a certain type of defense didn't have the personnel to play it because you had players that were not available for reasons related to the virus. Okay. This year, God willing, that's less likely to happen. But it makes it harder to predict what's going to happen even this year. Now, Kevin gives the Chicago Bears an A, the Chargers an A, the second A I've seen for the Chargers, the Minnesota B+, Philadelphia B+, Cleveland B+, Buffalo B+, Tennessee B, Kansas City B, Houston B, Baltimore B minus, New England B minus, Detroit B minus, Arizona B minus, Cincinnati B minus, New York Jets C plus, New York Giants C plus, Miami C plus, the Jacksonville Jaguars C plus, or C rather, Atlanta C minus, Denver C minus, Dallas C minus, Carolina D plus, the Washington football team D plus, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers D plus, interesting, Indianapolis Colts D, the San Francisco 49ers D, it's a head scratcher, New Orleans Saints a D, the Las Vegas Raiders D minus, Pittsburgh Steelers Los Angeles LAR. What is LAR? LAR, the Rams. LA Rams F, and the Green Bay Packers an F. Now, what that comes is why that's F? I have no idea. And so you've got, let's see here. Adam Shine says you'd have to be an absolute moron to give out draft grades the Monday after the draft. Adam speaks for me. Okay. In a related story, our adult draft grades are on TS2. We grade Steelers, Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, Patriots, Saints, Chargers, Cowboys, and we have a lot to say on the Packers. That's Sportsnet at 6, and a visualization of David Carr giving the Raiders a grade draft. Grades after the draft are nothing. Wait 4 years for the real grade. I do agree that you have to wait. And, I think now, having said that, I think we're in an appropriate position to really, wow, look at this, okay? To really evaluate the Raiders' grades from a more long-term perspective. And look, if I have to go back over the same period of years that I looked at the Buccaneers, the Raiders have not had drafts that were such that they were building a nucleus for a playoff team. And if you want, let's start with Gruden's draft, his first one where they brought in Maurice Hurst and Arden Key. Both are gone. They're gone to the Niners. And if they do well with the Niners, then the focus has to be on the Raiders coaching. Not so much drafting, but coaching, okay? So that I can't wait to see what happens with that. But point I'm making is that the Raiders got rid of them. Whereas the Buccaneers, you can go back in their drafts and you can see that many of the players that they got, like, for example, Chris Godwin, are still with the team. Mike, and you've got a whole nucleus of players. Ron Jones, for example, still with the team, major contributor. And that formed their nucleus. And then they added Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. But even before they did that, they had Cameron Brate,
Mike Evans,
Mike Evans before him, Cameron Brate too. I think Mike Evans came outside the field of I'm talking about, but not far though. But Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, who came in 2018 or 17, I believe. And in total, they had linebackers like Alexander, and who actually wound up leaving, I think, the team by a trade, Quan Alexander. They had some misses at cornerback that didn't quite. Werner Hargreaves, I think, fell into displeasure with Bruce Arians for something. Something happened there of a personal nature. But you can go back and look at the Buccaneers, and their draft retention rate is better than the Raiders. In other words, they're better able to maintain a nucleus. By contrast, the Raiders blew up their offensive line and are starting all over. And look, it's easy to look at the shiny object and think, oh, it's new and therefore it's better. But my contention is that the Raiders will be lucky to see, I have to say it, the Raiders will be lucky to see 8-8 this year. And the reason I say that is because they have so many new people coming in at the wrong positions. And there's never really a right time for it, unless, of course, maybe you won the Super Bowl. So I take that back. There is the right time for it. You won the Super Bowl, so you're rebuilding. The Raiders are not there. The Raiders did not win the Super Bowl, and yet they have rebuilt themselves in part by their own misadventures in corporate management, by not properly negotiating. You have to sort of rush and catch up and fix your problems. The only way out of the situation for the Raiders is scheme. They are going to have to scheme their way out of it. And unless John has a trick up his sleeve that he hasn't demonstrated before, I don't see that happening. I just don't. And it goes with the simple rule that, look, if you're going to have a hit with new draftees, you have to do it like the Niners did it with Bill Walsh. You bring in all these high draft picks, right? And you focus them on one place, the secondary, all from big schools who can play right now, who are big hitters like Ronnie Lott, Carlton Williamson. We know the group, Eric Wright. And then you focus it there. You don't sprinkle them around. The Raiders do have defensive backs, but they're not paced by a high pick. Okay. And they are brought in like there's word on the street that Abrams may be leaving. Okay. So this is a fix it. It's not like I'm bringing a whole group to rebuild and they're all young and they all have their designates. Like, this is safety over here with Ronnie Lott. This is our free safety with Eric, and we've got Williamson, and we've got, that's the 1981 49er group that brought the 49ers their Super Bowl championship. So I just have to clinically say that the Raiders have not produced drafts that have this identifiable nucleus of people that's big enough. It's not that they don't have it, because someone say, what do you mean? They have Derek Carr and he's been there all the time. But look, the line around him is gone. The guy that's been snapping the ball to him is gone. You've got Incognito's there. Okay, fine. That's it. But Gabe Jackson is gone. Kamichi is gone. The number of people that are departed on the offensive line, who periodically regarded as one of the best in the NFL, are gone. Period. So where are they now? They have to teach a new group how to communicate on the fly. And unless they simplify the running game, unless they decide that they're going to go more with a read option, but they really don't have a running quarterback to do that, well, they have Marcus Mariota. If they're going to play a package deal by keeping him, okay, fine. That gives them some possibility. But if they're going to essentially to play the same kind of approach that they did before, and then they expect success with a different set of people, I think that's a recipe for disaster. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think John Gruden is stuck in his ways. I think if you think about when he came out in '98, he was the kid who thought outside the box. Now he's the older guy who's inside the box and doesn't want to think outside of it. And I think what he needs to do is bring in somebody with a fresh look at the NFL today and maybe scheme up differently, because you're right. If we continue to do what we've been doing, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be the same results with different personnel. And the fact that you have so many people new coming in, they have propagated that as a good thing. But then if you stop and take a look back, how many years has it taken for Carr? As great as Carr has been, it's taken him roughly 3 years to get used to what Gruden wants to do. I think Gruden needs to simplify his playbook, because what have you heard throughout the last 3-4 years is that it's a very hard playbook to get a hold of. You can't grasp it in the first season. Having said that, what do you do when you come in, like you mentioned, that you have your offensive line is basically going to be a new offensive line except for Richie and Colton Miller.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, it is a big problem. And so, hope springs eternal, but things have to change. And I think John has to realize that he needs to change with the times.
Yeah, I'll defend John on one point. This goes back to my second combine, which was when he came back as coach. And I've known John since 1998 when I was at the Raiders sponsor party, and I represented Oakland Mayor Hugh Harris. And there's a photograph of me, John, Mike Tyson's cut doctor, and then Charlie Santana Jr., whose dad, Charlie Santana Sr., was Alameda County supervisor, one of the supervisors who brought the Raiders back to Oakland from Los Angeles. Anyway,
is that picture that you had with the mustache and a small fro?
That's the one. Yeah, the one where Anyway, but I was really happy to see him, and I remember he said he needs ideas, so I gave him an idea, and I gave him an idea at that same year at the NFL Spring League meeting, and the idea. In fact, I made drew up a playbook and everything, a play sheet, and a diagram. And John had Raiders PR director Will Kiss wait for me in the lobby. And what I gave him, he actually did use. And he started working it in. It was a variation of what Auburn was doing in terms of the running game, but it had a particular wrinkle where I can describe it. I came out of shotgun formation. The halfback was over here on the left. And when the ball was snapped, the halfback went across the quarterback's body to run basically what we call a cross buck. And so the quarterback originally had the option of giving it to the halfback this way or keeping it, then rolling, because there was the tight end coming in motion left to right and going out to swing like that. So you're basically faking here, or you can keep it and give it to him, or throw it to the tight end in motion, because by the time the ball was snapped, you snapped it before the tight end got all the way across. And then you had slot over here, and not a slot, but you had a split end out here, and the split end ran a fly pattern. Okay. So what happened on one occasion, the Raiders used it preseason against the Rams, and they gave the ball initially to Marshawn Lynch, and Marshawn Lynch ran 60 yards for a touchdown. The play also, it calls for Carr to roll out to the side where the tight end is going in motion and going out on this kind of swing pass route. And the Chargers actually copied the play. And I believe they used it against the Tennessee Titans. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. They used it against the Raiders. And the split and running the fly pattern was uncovered. But the Chargers did not know enough to throw it to the split end. In my system, the split end was always number one. In other words, it's an alert, okay? That's from Bill Walsh. That's the way Bill Walsh would have designed his plays. He would always have the threat of a receiver able to score a touchdown. It's called an alert. And then you check you touchdown, whereas a person who was the Stanford offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton, would say touchdown to check down. So this fell into that ideology of touchdown to check down. Or Carr could keep the ball and run it to that side. John loved it. Okay. So my point is by sharing that is that he's open to ideas. He really is. You just got to give him the ideas. And and fans really should become more interested in the techniques of football, and send a player to. I actually now have a 53 play book, and that I'm going to bottle up and I'm going to send once I get a chance to print it out. But he's open to ideas and new things. It just you can only be in an echo chamber for so long, and then time flies. You got to put something together, and it's got to be put together now. So I defend him in that. He does. The problem, I think, is that he rests in the terminology. The terminology he asks his players to use is really long, okay? And it comes from the Walsh, again, the Walsh approach. And that approach is something that I was trying to ask Mike McCarthy about, the Cowboys coach, when he came up to the podium to give his introductory interview. And there's some people who thought I was being insulting, and I wasn't trying to insult him at all. I asked him, and Mike got it. Okay. I said, look, hey, have you considered changing the verbiage? Because since you have gone out of football, since you went out of football just for a little bit and then came back in. I've interviewed a number of players who they used to get in their play calls the signs of a banana.
Yeah,
pictures, and it's completely different. And he appreciated that, because a lot of people now say what you say, that it's too complicated, it's too wordy, and when you're used to a no huddle system, that people you don't really have the time to take to announce that in a huddle. And now I think the gift that college football has given football, and the gift that high school football has given football, is these packaged plays that, like, the read option is a kind of a packaged play. You can either run a dive with a quarterback, or you can give it to the half, or depending on how it's designed, it's a dive with the running back, and then the quarterback keeps it, or the quarterback throws a bubble screen to the right or a seam to the opposite end, but it's all in one play. And you can have the luxury of a rather involved game plan in just a few plays if you know how to design your plays. And the Raiders do have package plays, it seems, but I don't think the Raiders have really caught on full on with how to design package plays in the modern era.
Well, and then one of the things that you mentioned that I wanted to reemphasize is not every individual player is going to be different in the way they process information. The aptitude is not always there. And you said something that solidifies that comment, is that in today's college game, you're using pictures to describe a play. So the brain hasn't been accustomed to trying to digest that information, and not to make excuses, but again, you go about that. A coach may design a play and he thinks it's a perfect play, but he needs to take in consideration how his players are going to process that information. Everybody processes information differently. So I think in this instance, the more you simplify it, the easier it is to grasp. And not to make excuses, but again, you're dealing with a whole generation of new players that haven't been accustomed to processing information the traditional way John Gruden is used to.
That's the biggest thing. And if you don't know how to talk with them or tell them what they need to know in a way that they can process it and then execute, it's going to be, there's going to be a problem. I mean, without question, it's going to be a problem. Now,
having said that, I have to take off for a minute. I'll come back. So I'll leave you for a few minutes, and I'll try coming back as soon as possible.
Okay, cool. All right, see ya. All right. So let's see what else people are saying on Twitter, because we have some interesting exchanges here. This is Vinny Laspinosa still working. Let's go back to our Twitter Raiders draft grade here. And That was the latest. That was an hour ago. Anyway, okay. So here's another one. Raiders had too many reaches, not enough value picks. I think you saw that before. Let me scroll down. Let me refresh this. It looks like it's the same tweets over and over again. But they're different times. All right. I only got one of you giving me a grade for the Raiders, but let me go down here. Oh, favorite team Raiders draft grade F. One word, hilarious. That's what Tim Petropoulos says. And then he says, I am not certain. He says it was a B grade draft class. I'm not certain they fixed the O-line. Additionally, they did not address the weak wide receiver group. Waller is a baller, but Ruggs was an utter bust last season, and no one knows if Brown will be able to pick up where Nelson left off, but I am hoping so. My take on that is that Waller is a baller because Waller was asked to run chip and bite and dagger patterns. In other words, Ruggs, they sent Ruggs on these deep search and destroy missions a lot, whereas I think Henry Ruggs would be an excellent slant pass pattern runner. Throw him short and let him rack up yards after the catch. The Raiders did not present a lot of that. 5 yards, turn out. I don't mean from a split end position. I mean, bring him in the slot, move him around, and give him plays where he can fake his hips inside, turn outside, catch the ball at the 5 yard mark in terms of the distance of the pattern, and then pick up the yards for a first down, right? Then he's effective. Those little dagger plays hurt. And we have somebody who can run like he does. He could take a play that a slower wide receiver would not pick up as many yards running and really make it sing. To me, the ultimate wide receiver is someone who can maneuver like Julian Edelman, but has the speed of Henry Ruggs. Who's to say that Henry Ruggs doesn't have the maneuverability of Julian Edelman? You would say we already have that covered with Hunter Renfrow, right? Fine. But my point is, why is it that the offense has to be designed so that Hunter Renfrow has all the fun? Why can't you interchange them a bit, right? Then you get different matchups, different teams. If you know that you're dealing with inside DBs that are slow, that's something you're going to want to do. So, all right. Raider Nation says, let's make no mistake about this. The Raiders Leatherwood draft criticism isn't about value. It's about evaluation. The reason the consensus of media draft analysts say Leatherwood was a second-round talent is because they gave him a second-round grade. So someone, I think, an NFL team can try to use media draft analysts to determine, quote, value, but I think they care more about the mock drafts made by the NFL insiders who talk to teams. The insiders' consensus had Leatherwood going between picks 17 and 32 and not making it out of the first round, and that's true. I saw that. I did a grade that pushed him in the second round. All right. So he says, so the quote media draft analysts say second round, the media insiders say second half of the first round. Tom Cable obviously had him as at least his third favorite offensive tackle in the draft. I believe he saw Vera Tucker as a guard. No one is offering proper value to trade back 5 to 10 spots. What I just detailed there, he goes on, is a, quote, decision-making process. It requires more thought and care than Mel Kiper saying, I had a second-round grade on him, so it's a reach. Also, why did the sports writers give Leatherwood the Outland Trophy when he's obviously a second-round talent? Yep. Hey. Oh, and by the way, the Oakland A's are using Dogecoin. Wow. Okay. Raider for Life says, I am so tired of the mainstream media putting down the Raiders. It's like if any other team would have did what we did, they would have given them an A grade, and every draft pick had a commercial. That's true. Hey, by the way, folks, if you want to say something via your smartphone, I am going to share this invite link with you right now. There. So all you have to do is copy and paste it. It's in the field over there. And if you want to be on camera and state your opinion rather than just write it or whatever, there's your invitation. There's any of you watching right now. Maybe one of you wants to say something. We've had some really great guests by doing that, in the recent past. So then we have, but I'm going back to what I'm going to repeat this because I agree. Oh, by the way, he says, this is Raiders says, hey, Zennie, I can't listen to sports media anymore. If Belichick did what Raiders did, he's a great GM. Exactly. It's a matter. Well, look, it's people are. I look at it this way. You have to evaluate how good a draft is by the outcome with that team. It doesn't mean necessarily the players are bad. Sometimes great players can go in a situation where the coaches really are not that great. Now, what we have to hope for in the Raiders case is that the coaches really have their communications and schematic act together this year to realize a champion. That is a tall order because we haven't seen anything. Hey, there's Rays. Hey,
what up, Zennie?
Hey, man, how you doing? Great to see your face. Welcome.
Hey, long time.
Yeah. So, what say you, man? How you doing? How's your health? How's the family?
Very good, man. Mom got vaccinated. I'm gonna get mine at the end of the month out here in California, Monterey, California, to be exact.
Yeah, I got my apartment across the bay in Oakland.
Oh yeah, there you go. And then so everything's good, man. Self-employed, doing DoorDash right now, so that's going pretty good. I haven't ran into any people trying to steal my food, but doing pretty good.
They're trying to steal your food? What?
No. I haven't run any problems with that. No, not yet. Not yet, anyways.
Oh, thank God. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. So I like it because it's you're independent and you really don't have a boss, and you can work whenever you want. So
that's a nice. What do you think about the Raiders draft? What do you think?
You know what, man? I'm gonna say is if it wasn't for that first round, I would have gave them an A, but I would have to go B plus, just because they did address the defense. And I don't, like I said, we're not gonna know until we get these guys on the field. So everybody could have their opinions about how these guys are gonna be, but we really don't know until we see them play. And that's my attitude with it. And I'm just sick of the people like Mel Kiper and all these idiots on ESPN that don't know, really just sharing their opinions, really saying how stupid of a draft Gruden is. And then here's my thing. I have my issues with Gruden, but it's because of his play calling during games. I don't call him stupid. I don't call him he's not a good coach. It's during the games when he doesn't make adjustments, like you say, in games that I have a problem with Gruden. Other than that, I mean, this guy's not dumb. I don't think he came out of the media to just go to a place to lose all the time. I'm sure he's tired of losing as well. And we're just going to have to wait and see what Gus Bradley's going to do with that defense. I mean, I hope he either 3-4 or 4-3, whatever he wants to do. I hope Gruden lets him control that part, and I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine. I say B plus.
What would you have liked to see the Raiders do in the first round?
I would have drafted that corner in the first round. I was actually wanting to draft Patrick Surtain from Alabama first round. I thought I was really good. Or that guy from USC that was a guard from USC, or that Samoan kid. That was pretty good as well. I wanted the Raiders to get him in the second round, but I mean, hey, Mayock knows more than me, so I'm not going to question that.
What do you think of the Raiders not taking? I wanted them to take Christian Ballmore, the guy that the Patriots.
That would have been a good pick too. I would have liked that one too.
I mean, I don't, but having said that, Leatherwood, I saw a number of mock drafts as a first round pick, and I don't look. I'll say this also. We're talking about a guy who played for Nick Saban in a scheme that is the envy of a number of NFL teams.
Yes.
And people, so I know, aside from the fact that I'm getting a good player, I'm also getting a player that knows schemes that he can tell me about.
Exactly.
And tricks that I can bring. One thing I found was interesting about Leatherwood, he blocks in a way that I think is really evil. You ever see him grab his neck?
Kind of like Adana Sue.
Yeah, exactly. But he's on offense, and that's hard. It's hard if you're a defensive lineman. It is hard to get around somebody going through your throat, and they're blocking you.
I agree. Just like Bontich, Burkitch, or whatever the Raiders brought over, and all that. Yeah, I agree. It's one thing to try to get ahead, but to do it dirty, I'm not for that. So I hope Cable will teach him a better technique so he won't get any penalties, during the game. So I'm pretty sure.
I think they got him for that. I think they got him because he's nasty like that. And
right.
You didn't hear anybody in Alabama talking about a dirty player named Leatherwood. Alex, Leatherwood.
Yeah.
Choking people as he blocks them. That never came up.
That's good. That's a good thing, though. It's good.
It's a very borderline way of blocking that
I agree.
Is unique to him.
Exactly.
And it's hard to defend. You got somebody pushing you like this. It's like, what can you do when he's controlling? It's worse than being hit in the chest.
And, I always said this to Zennie. Zennie about the NFL that they have made it so one-sided that the offense has more an advantage over defensive players now, because you can't even jam the receiver nowadays. You can't even hit a quarterback. You can't even. To me, if you're going to change the rule, make it fair for both sides of the ball, not for a defense, not for just the offense, but for somebody who's a cornerback. Like, what do you expect a cornerback to do when you have all these rules that they're going to get a flag every time they try to defend somebody? I think the NFL really messed up when they did it one-sided, and I don't know why more players ain't commenting about that or complaining about that to Roger Goodell.
A good defensive line coach and defensive lineman knows how to basically via hand movements, judo, because this is big. The Dallas Cowboys under Tom Landry, when Ernie Stautner was the defensive coordinator, I forgot who the defensive line coach was, but they taught them judo. And this was in the 70s. They're saying, why are they having them teach judo? But the reason was, as it was spelled on Dallas Cowboys Weekly, that I subscribed to at the time, was that they had to understand how to use their hands to get offensive players' hands off them.
Off of them, right. The perfect technique. And that's the thing, too. I guess if you go to an organization that actually have coaches that teach you that, and thankfully Cable's over there, so hopefully he will teach him that. So that part, I actually think that Cable has been an awesome offensive coordinator.
I'm not taking anything away from Tom Cable at all. I'm not implying he doesn't do that or won't do that. Quite the contrary. I think you're absolutely right. I just but this gets back to how I believe they looked at Leatherwood's style.
Right.
They said that's something that we can use.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And we'll see. If we lead the league in penalties, then we will see if he controls himself during the game. I hope he does. So that for the Raiders' sake, and I hope if Carr does not get sacked all year, and if Jacobs has another 1,000-yard rushing, then that was a good pick, right? So, so we'll see.
Hey, what do you think that? Are you going to a game in Vegas by chance?
Oh, you know what, Zenny? I am planning to. I have a cousin that actually is 3 blocks away from there, and I don't gamble anyway, so it wouldn't bother. Vegas is no issue with me. But I plan to go to at least, I don't know which game, but one game I'm gonna definitely try to go after I get fully vaccinated. I'm gonna try to go down there. Yep, definitely.
Prices lately? Have you? Because I haven't yet. In fact,
no, I haven't. No.
Well, in fact, while I have you here, let's take a look at them. Let's see what they look like here. Let's go to hotels.com.
Okay.
And see hotels.com. If I can spell hotels.com. Not that I use hotel.com. Sometimes I use Booking. Sometimes I use Trivago. But let's talk Las Vegas, Nevada,
See how
United
cheap it is.
Yeah, let's pick the right dates though. Let's go into let's say September, right? Maybe Sunday, September 12th, assuming it's going to be a home game. Not sure.
Right.
I
don't know the schedule yet either. I mean, I know the schedule, but I don't know the weeks right now.
Yeah, schedules. Okay, so here, schedule hasn't been released yet.
Right.
So let's see here. We got all right. Treasure Island. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
That's 30% off. Remember, this is not now. This is for that date. So that's 182 night. It's a total of let's see here. Nightly, 30% off. It says a total. This is weird. It says a total $1,002 for 4 nights.
Wow, that is a lot. Oh, wow, that is a lot. I only need 3 nights. At least a weekend.
But you know what? All right, 1,002 nights for 4 nights is more than $182 a night.
That is true.
This is gouging. Oh my God! Look. You know what this is? You know what this is, man? Okay, hold on a second. I'll tell you what this
advertisement.
That's $250 a night.
Wow. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna call my cousin up and say I'd rather supply him with food and just stay on the couch for the weekend.
You know what that means? That means the resort fee. If it's $182 a night, that means with taxes and the resort fee, they're pushing it to $250.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's see what else we've got here. You got the Flamingo at $156 a night, because look, on its face, $156 a night, right? Times 4 nights is $620. So basically they're sticking you with 624 minus 873, $249 in resort fees for the week.
Wow. And that's actually not a bad. That's actually better than the other one, but it's still high.
Yeah. Wow. And then they have the Jockey Club Suites, which I haven't heard of. They've got the Travel Lodge by Wyndham, who's ran by my friend Brian Carlos. That's $97 a night for $439. Now, here's the catch. It's not a catch. A good thing.
Right.
The Travel Lodge does not have a resort fee. Okay.
See, that's a good thing.
Yeah. So you're gonna get what you get. So that 97 times 4 is exact. Okay, plus the tax. Okay, that's $439 for 4 nights. So so
that is a better deal.
Yeah, that's much better, because that's 388. And then you've got minus 439. So you're looking at 51.
And that's for 3 days or 4?
4 days. So you're looking at $51 in taxes for 4 days. That's definitely not a resort fee.
No, it's not. And you know what, Zenny? Save that one for me. I know we got time, but save that link.
I definitely. I'll what I'll do is I'll put that link here. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and then I'll show it here. Okay, it's a city,
Okay.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Your check-in, and let me tell you, the check-in for this is the check-in would be September 10th.
Right.
And the checkout is the 13th.
Okay.
Right, so
That's not bad.
let me double check that. Let me go upstairs here. Hold on. So we're looking at yeah. Here it is. Check-in is the 9th, 9/10/21. Checkout is 9/14/21. Okay.
Not bad. Not bad.
One room, 2 adults. There you go. Yeah, not bad.
Okay.
So that's a great deal to Travelodge. And then
Hey, they're doing it. They're doing it actually right, not charging a hotel fee because a customer is already paying for so much, and then on top of that, you want the charge. See, that's the way to go. Not charging the fee. So, yeah.
And the Venetian's charging $255 a night. So, and of course, the Venetian's not owned by Las Vegas Sands anymore. So that comes to $255 a night, and that comes to $1,020. But they're saying total $1,360 for 4 nights. That's the resort fee. So what you look at there is $340 in resort fees attached to that for 4 nights. Caesars,
yeah, that's way too much.
That's
your friend's lodge seems to be the best deal right there. So
is charging $339 a night.
Wow.
South Point Hotel Casino is $114 per night. Four Queens downtown, that's $88 a night. MGM Signature is $225. The Carriage House, $172. The Tuscany Suites is $110. Planet Hollywood might offer the best bet other than the Travelodge. It's $187 per night. But again, but look at this. It's $1,023 for 4 nights. So okay, so $187 per night times 4, that's $748, right? So listen to $748. Then you can consider $1,023. Okay, that's $275 in resort fees.
Yep.
So that's wild, man. Bellagio is $307, and they really need to bake these in. They need to take. That's where they're doing is really bad. Now,
they are because it's like hello, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and they're gonna charge people, this much. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and the Excalibur's a better bet. They've got now it's $118 a night, a total $695. Okay, so if you take that, you're paying $223 in resort fees, but it's $118 a night. It's okay. I mean, I'm not really jazzed about the rooms. It is what it is, but that's a price that's unbeatable. It's next to the monorail. There's a lot to like about that. You got the link at 146. Best Western's at $148. The downtown Grand is $91. And Caesar's Palace Resorts $287. And I personally love Caesar's Palace. That's $287. Look at this. It's $287, right? Excuse me. $287. And then, which is $1,148. And then you got a total of you got $355 in resort fees you're paying over that.
Wow.
So,
yeah. I ate there before. I mean, their food is good, but
the one thing, they're betting on the Raiders to bring them business.
Right. And they gotta figure it's gonna be like you say in a lot of your videos. It's gonna be a while before, unfortunately, Vegas as a whole recovers from this pandemic, even including the Raiders, because I mean, they're the place that's hurt the most, I believe, out of all of this too. is Vegas. So
Godfather, I guess he's coming back. He said schedule gets released May 12th. And then he said, avoid resort fees. If you have family members that live in Vegas, you can have them book the hotel for you and then waive your resort fees. I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh, wow.
You learned
maybe
something?
I could call my.
Hey,
maybe I gotta ask my cousin about that. Thank you, Godfather, because he lived. Wow. Yeah, because he lives, like I said, he lives like right near the stadium. So, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I did not know that. Yeah, I did
Neither
not.
did I.
The Palazzo is let's see, it's $263. The Rio, look at this. The Rio is just $92.
Wow. I wonder why they so low.
You know what, folks? There's your new deal. Okay.
There it is.
There it is. The Rio. It's let me see something here. Is okay, 368, and then you've got a total of 576. That's $208 in resort fees, but you're starting off at 92 a night. That's actually
the best deal. That's the best deal right now.
Yeah, folks. Rio. Yeah, Rio gets the award as the best deal.
Gets 578 for what, 4 days as well? That's I mean, and that leaves you a little bit more of a pocket money too when you're done paying for it. So I mean, that's pretty good.
Rio, folks, that's the best deal. So we found that one so far.
Yeah, save that one too, Zennie. Say that, but I'm gonna go ahead and give my cousin a call though.
Also, you can save this video and just roll back to these, right? Because with this review part, I think what I'll do is I'll break this part out as a separate video to talk about hotel prices and do a segment on this because this is going to be pretty useful to a lot of people.
Yeah, but are you gonna go to a game as well, Zennie, or are you gonna wait till?
That depends on. I would love to. It depends on my mom, and I don't like to leave her by herself. So as much as
I'm the same way. Me and you are the same way.
Yeah,
the same way.
But I think we were talking about it because Mom wants to go to Vegas, and so
she would have a blast.
Oh, she'd love it, and she deserves so much.
Last time I was there was New Year's 2010, New Year's 2011, and it was a party, man. It was just everybody was in a good mood.
Yeah, I would play it now, but I shouldn't because I don't want to get a copyright. But there's a couple of gals too that do live streams there. One of them is named I forgot Steve's last name, but his channel is called Not Leaving Las Vegas. He does these live streams on the Strip. And then there's Pompsy who does some that I quite enjoy. Those are the two that
I tell you one thing though, if my mom was not around here anymore, I would probably end up in Vegas. I mean, I love it out here, don't get me wrong. It's just way too expensive to live out here. It is, man. I mean, you can't even have 3 jobs and make ends meet out here with 3 jobs, let alone 2. So
that's why I'm still holding on to my place there.
Right.
But I'm holding on to the place there because also my business and my clients have been there, and Mom needed me here, and then the pandemic happened, but I just don't want to leave her. I just don't.
No, I mean, yeah, that's something that me and you have that in common because, I promised my dad before he passed away that if anything happened to him, I would move back home and help Mom out. And unfortunately, something happened to him. So I'm trying to hold on, to that promise as well. Out of all the promises that I broke when I was younger, I'm keeping this one. And,
my mom's my heart. And so I just,
that's one thing I respect you for the most too. Not only you're the realest guy on vlogging that I seen on YouTube, and but you take care of your mom, and I respect that too because that's what I do too.
Thank you. Yeah, she takes care of me.
Oh, I know we're getting off this football issue, but I don't know if did you see that video of that teacher who was pulled over by a cop, and this teacher, She was being very rude to the cop. Okay, first of all, the cop asked her for her license. She didn't have her license on her, but she had her license on the phone. She kept telling the cop, "You're a murderer. You're a murderer. You're a racist." And the cop was taking it. You know, he was not yelling back at her. He was saying, "Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am," and gave her a citation for not having her license on her. But this lady just continues to go, you're Mexican, you want to be white. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, you're belittling this officer for doing his job. First of all, you walk out the house you drive without a license. That's illegal for one. She could have.
I'll tell you what, I'm losing viewers because they don't want to talk about it. So I just
okay, but I'm just saying, I'll let you look that up, Zennie. I'll let you look that up.
Yeah, I be clear from that because there's just so much mindless stuff. See, now my viewers are going down, so it's like yeah. People
okay, my bad. Sorry, you guys. I just said I talked to Zennie about that. My bad. I'm on another channel.
Okay, so you got the Mardi Gras Hotel and Casino at. Look at this. It's $68 a night. The Mardi Gras is not far from the Strip. It's a total of $330 for 4 nights. Something to consider, folks.
That's in the Mardi Gras in Vegas. Yeah. I mean, in New Orleans.
Yeah,
New Orleans.
Yeah. It's 3500 Paradise Road. I would check it out, of course. All right. Now, there's
that's pretty cool.
My mom's favorite hotel is coming up, but this is the Mardi Gras. It's that okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the Aaron Rodgers situation, Zennie? You think he's going to play this year?
I think so. Let's get through this because there's actually some deals. But look at this. This is my mom's favorite. Bally's. One left, $107. All right.
Wow.
Nightly price per room, total $560 for 4 nights. Very good. Hey, you know what? I might get this one.
There you go. I mean, that's 3 in a row that are good deals right there.
Yeah. The Bally's, and my mom loves the slots at Bally's when they pay.
Right.
So, and there's Bally's, and of course there's Harrah's. Trump International Hotel, that's $183 there. They are, if you take a look at it, they are another one of these that's got a resort fee. Desert Rose Resort, I know nothing about, so $159. The Sahara is $129. The Sahara, that's cheap.
Where's that by? Is that on the Strip or?
Let's take a look at the Sahara. That's see what that looks like. Let me grab this. I believe used to be the old SLS. Let me see here. Sahara. There. It's great. 4-star, great for families. And let's take a look at it's nice pool.
That does look nice. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. This is I believe this is nice room. Spacious.
Oh yeah. That is nice.
I like the pastries. I like that. Okay, that's for convention dining.
Can't go wrong with the food. Always I love the food.
Oh, that's what I love about going to Vegas. Wow, look at that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The furniture reminds me of the Jetsons or something.
A futuristic Jetsons.
Yeah, exactly. There's your casino setup there. What's this look like from the outside, though? Let me see something here. I'm not getting a full view of what it looks like from the outside. It's outdoor. It's a see all 93 photos and all that jazz.
That's nice though.
Let's see here. Let's see, overview. Okay, that's an overview. Still doesn't give me a photograph.
Yeah, that's weird. They probably set it up that way where you can't.
Yeah, you know what? There's one way to. You know what? I got something for them. I'm gonna get around that. I'm gonna get around that real quick. Okay, Sahara, Las Vegas. Highlight this. Go to that. Here, And okay, should go to Google, give us a better result, and go to images. And yeah, so this is what it looks like. There's Sahara through the years.
That is nice.
That's not the
Is
Sahara.
that that's on the strip? That's on the strip, right?
That's nearby. That's what it really looks like. Okay, I know where this is. Okay, it's that's okay. You know, it's okay.
Yeah, not bad. Not
It's
bad.
like that area of town that it's in, though. There is a drugstore down the street that I don't feel safe walking toward. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
But there's a lot of history there. Sierra Las Vegas officially debuts. Let's see here. It doesn't turn on like I want it to. Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's something to consider. It's something to consider.
Definitely something to think about, contemplate about.
It is. You can book that. Going back to the hotel situation there, and where we were.
Yeah, at least we got time. We got 5 months to marinate about what.
Well, actually, I think you got less time than that. I think that here's why. Because by the time when the schedule comes out on the 12th.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It's going to be a rush to get rooms because then people will be able to lock up their
tickets and stuff. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So what I would do is I'm going to do some research. I would sort of spitball this. I'm going to talk to my mom about it too, or just pick a game nobody else is picking and go for it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't think we're going to get the same gouging. We're not going to get the super high ticket prices we got before because, the economy was roaring, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's different. Hey, it's
exactly. So you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we should make a decision before maybe August, when around preseason or something like that, before everybody else gets their rush. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think. Oh, by the way, what are you most looking forward to about the Raiders being in Las Vegas, and what are you least looking forward to?
Well, obviously, I don't want them to lose. We've been losing for so long now. It's kind of like it's become not a habit, but you always wish that. See, I always start the season wishing we make the playoffs. I don't even go as far as saying Super Bowl. Just get in the playoffs. That's all I ask. So I want to see the chemistry with these new players on defense. What Gus Bradley is going to run. I'm very interested in watching him, how he coaches on the sideline, his attitude, his manners when he's there on the sideline in games, how he adjusts when he's playing against somebody. And I want to see which players are going to step it up this year. I mean, Jonathan Abrams got a lot to prove. Derek Carr, of course, has always got something to prove. Khalil Farrell, all these guys. I want to see who steps up. They gotta really step it up. And we heard all the talk already from Gruden. So I want to see it on the field. I want to see that they want to win. They want to put a full 60 minutes of football, both sides of the ball, and execute and win. And I just want to see that. So that's what I'm gonna try to look forward to in the season. So.
Hey, Raiders, what's your name? What's your name?
Raiders SP. Raiders SP.
Do you have a real name?
Oh, Eric, ERIC.
Harry?
No, Eric, ERIC.
Hey, Carrie, this is Joseph. Joseph, this is Carrie. How you doing?
Hey,
good,
Joseph.
Good.
Long time fan of yours too.
I'm Godfather. I'm the one that sent the message.
Oh, okay. Hey, long time fan of yours too, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good job on doing on the videos with Zennie. So I've been watching you guys for a while.
I hope you enjoyed the Raider draft class video.
Oh, I did. I told Zennie I gave the Raiders a B. But it's just like we won't know how these players are until they are on the field. And that's the way I try to keep it optimistic like that. and we'll see. Hopefully, like I told Zenny, hopefully Gus Bradley is going to go in there, take control of this defense, and just go back to being the Raiders, man. And I love Gruden, but I'm tired of the talk. I want to see it on the field now. Both sides of the ball, and just play Raiders football, man. That's what I want for the season. Stop being embarrassed, and I was telling Zenny, there's some guys that need to step up this year. Jonathan Abram is one of them. He needs to really step it up.
And Damon Arnett. That was a disappointment for me.
Definitely Arnett as well. And these guys just got to play Raiders football, man. And I just want a winning season. And I always start off with saying making the playoffs. I don't even say making the Super Bowl. I want us to get to the playoffs. So I mean 10-6. Yeah, exactly. 10-6 is fine for me. That's but what 17-game season, who knows? You know what? Our schedule, it's hard, but it's not difficult. There's games against the Cowboys. Okay, you got the Steelers, in there, but our schedule is not difficult to win in the schedule, though. I think so. Raiders just gotta be consistent, man. I think that's the word right there. Is they gotta be consistent on both sides of the ball. That's the thing that happened last year. Our defense lost all those games, and we would have actually made the playoff last year if our defense came along. But
yeah, I think conceivably, if you look at last year, there are 3 specific games where the Raiders could have won. One of them being the heartbreaker for me is the San Diego game, or the Charger game, I should say.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
That was basically a defensive loss right there.
Yes, it was. Definitely was.
And so the general consensus, I think, as you pointed out, in my video or even with Zenny, I told him, I give the Raiders a B+. I think for me, the redemption pick was Trayvon Merrick at safety, free safety.
Yes.
And so I think, I don't think he's a free safety. Let me back that up. I think Diablo was a free safety. But
Diablo was.
Yeah, but that was the redemption pick. I think overall, like you mentioned, is that not until we see these players on the field, there's some high sides. What I told Zenny earlier, but I'll reiterate it with you on here, is that when you stop and look and investigate, like I did in my video, and I started looking into all these draft picks, the one intangible thing each one of them had is that they were high character kids. And there were smart kids that loved the game of football. And I think that's what both Mayock and Gruden have been trying to propagate in the last 3 years with the Raiders.
Right. That's the culture that they try to bring. I agree with you. And it's ironic that he drafts that isn't Coons from Khalil Mack's old school. So I hope Gruden will treat this guy right in 4 years. But anyways, that's a different subject with Khalil Mack. But it's not. And here's the thing with me, Joseph. It's like with the whole Khalil Mack thing as well. It's not like the Raiders never try to offer that guy money. That was the last thing Reggie McKenzie tried to do, but he turned it down for $200 million to go to the Bears. So I mean, what do you want to do? To me, that was all on Mack too. You know what I mean? He could have been a Raider for $40 million. He didn't want to, so he wanted to take $42 million. So there you go. So hopefully Coons will turn out to be just like Khalil Mack, hopefully. But we'll see. Wait and see.
Yeah, I think the Raiders, as I said, that was something that happened because the tax money they were taking to pay for the Riders' construction, the pay-go, came in about $20 million less than they projected. And they ended up eating that. They don't want to admit it, but it's on paper.
We know the truth, right, Zenny? We know the truth. We're not going to hear Mark admit that.
Hey, Joseph, we were looking for hotel deals, and thanks for the tip. Bally's comes in as the winner right now. It's $107 a night.
Hey, Zenny, I'll be right back. I'm gonna check on Mom real quick.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's 600. Hey, think he'd be a good addition. Looks like he might be. What do you think, Joseph?
Yeah, I think there's a discussion off air.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
So I'll say that.
Yeah, But I mean,
but yeah, it's always good to have different, perspectives, and someone who's motivated and who enjoys, talking about the things that we enjoy talking about, specifically with the Raiders.
Bally's though, look at this, $107 a night. They have one left right now, free cancellation. My mom loves Bally's, and I might wind up getting that for her. This is for the September 10th through the 14th. The question is,
now let me go back too, because when I mentioned that text that I sent you, or here on the vlog, with regards to the resort fees. Now I know specifically that potentially may end after the summer or the midsummer, because. But I'll find out more information. Like I said, my sister lives there, so she always gets information for me. But how I found out initially was even through her. When the M Resort opened up in Henderson, I called, and they volunteered that information when I called, when I was speculating or asking about room inquiries. And I asked them, is there any special deals for locals? And that's what they told me, is that the resort fees are waived for locals. Now, it's not going to be just that hotel. It's going to be spread throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
so,
cool. Hey, Carrie,
go ahead.
Hey, Joseph, tell Carrie what you just told us.
Oh, so the Eric, the reason how I found out too, with regards to the resort fees, my sister lives there. So she always gives me information with regards to that. But how I found this particular information out was when the M Resort was opening up, I called them. And I just happened to mention, is there any special rates for locals? And so there is a 30% discount for locals, at least at the M Resort. But also they waive the resort fees. Now, initially what they told me was they believe that's going to hold through midsummer. Whether or not midsummer that disappears in anticipation of everybody coming for the Raider games, that might be the case. But what I plan to do, I have this hotel that I like to go to. I can share with you guys off the air, because on May 12th, I'm going to make 2 reservations for upcoming games, and just hope that it falls in one of the games that I want to go to. Because once May 12th hits, man, it's going to be rampant. Everybody's going to start calling hotels.
Once May 12th hits, man.
Yeah, hey Joseph, let me know. Just like I told Zennie, I'm gonna be fully vaccinated by then. So
yeah, I got my second one next week. I go into the 3rd week where I'm supposed to have full antibodies built up.
Oh, cool. I get mine in about 3 weeks on the 22nd. So I got mine scheduled pretty soon. So yeah, I'm definitely down to go to the game.
We have to have a show and get Brian Cowles on here. He can talk about rooms, and maybe he can get us a special deal.
If we go as a group, we could set a couple of dates where a variety of us can go, and we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, we should get Vinny on here. Where's Vinny?
Yeah, Vinny. I think Vinny is doing a class
project.
Oh, okay.
And so otherwise, I mean, usually
I'm sure he would love to go to Raider games. I know he's not a Raider fan, but I'd like to go to Vegas probably. So
yeah. So play it by ear. I think be a great, interesting thing to. He's still working actually. He just finished working. So
okay. Well, that's like I said, Zennie. That's the beauty thing about me with DoorDash. I could take time off if I want. So I like that. I like that aspect part of this about this delivering stuff.
The Luxor is 128. Club Wyndham Main Street Station Hotel is $90. That's got to be downtown. The Berkeley Las Vegas is 134. The Signature is 315. Palm Place, that's 199.
Hey Joseph, so we do play the Steelers this year, I believe, right? The Steelers, the Cowboys. Is it the NFC East or is it the NFC South that we play?
The Cowboys are NFC East.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look, PTN is 112 right now. And again, these prices pertain to September 10th through the 14th. This is not right now per se, but it is, and then Paris, Las Vegas, it's an estimation of demand, what people are looking for right now versus that time. So,
Right.
Las
Gotcha.
Vegas, love the restaurants
Hey
in
man,
Paris.
we got some planning to do, you guys. Definitely. I'm actually excited. Actually excited to finally actually do something and watch a game, man. And I said that right when I went to the Raiders' last home game in Oakland, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to one game in
Oh my
Vegas,
God,
and
the Conrad, Las Vegas is clocking in high, $419. This is the new Resorts World room.
wow, that is
$419.
ridiculous price right there.
Yeah, $2,104 for 4 nights, holy resort fee. Looks like a beautiful place, but then there's the Fremont on 200 Fremont Street. That's downtown. That's $91 a night, $498 for 4 nights. Circus Circus is $112. Total $665 for 4 nights. That may not be. I mean, Circus Circus is hit or miss. The room quality is awful. I've gotten some
Right,
awful.
it is. Yeah, it's tiring too. Very tiring.
You know what might be a very good option if you remember 10, 15 miles outside of Vegas, you have hotels.
Yep.
You know, and those are full-fledged hotels with casinos, and you could always shuttle in, you know, worst case scenario into the game.
See, that's the thing. My mom, I mean, in terms of how I have to think about the trip. My mom loves to gamble. She loves slots. And for her, a trip to Vegas is a reminder of my late stepfather and they would go to Harrah's, and they would go to Bally's. They had room deals that she still has now. So
she wants to do the same thing. Right.
We have to, well, more important, we have to pick places where the room deals are active, right? So that's why I was looking at Bally's, because we have a relationship with Bally's and we have a relationship with Harrah's. On that note, I may try something I hadn't thought about corporate.
I mean, last time I was at Circus Circus, man, I was it was 2008. I had family come down here from the Philippines, and they wanted to go to Vegas, and we went to Circus Circus, and Circus Circus is a nice place to go to. It's fun over there.
Oh, Eric, if you're Filipino, you can make me some lumpias.
Oh, hey, brother, I got the hookup on that, bro. If we go on a road trip, I'll cook, bro. I can roast some
lumpias. What are those?
That's egg rolls.
It sounds good. What are lupias?
So they're our version of egg rolls. So our version of egg rolls. So yeah. So I don't know if Georgia has any Asian cuisine, but you know, Filipino shops down there. But you could basically get the wrapper. You at any Asian stop and say, "Hey, I want a lumpia wrapper." So it's basically you could put anything in it you want. You could put meat, vegetables, and you just deep fry it like you do an egg roll. And we just fry it differently. So it's our version of egg rolls.
And let me throw another thing to impress you: pancit.
Oh my gosh, you dated a Filipino girl.
My brother-in-law's Filipino.
That is cool, man.
You got a girlfriend back there? Is Filipino?
There you go.
He's silent.
Oh,
No. My brother-in-law's Filipino.
There you go. Yeah, man. Those are the three main courses, bro. Lumpia, pancit, and adobo. Those are the three easiest things to make. Adobo, you just need pork belly, you need vinegar, you need soy sauce, and you just marinate it all together, and you got adobo. That's just like really good too.
So you two brothers are on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. It's 10:30. It's just 7:30 there. I got to go down and check on mom and then get to sleep.
Okay.
So
nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, definitely, man. We'll see you. And I'm just going to shut this down. So I'll see you. I'll talk to you all soon. And,
okay. All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Zennie. Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah, man, you're a hit, man. You might have to have you back.
Exactly. Hey, anytime you want to talk Raiders football, I'm there. Warriors, whatever, basketball, I'm there. And anything sports, I'm there. So
sounds like a plan, man. All right, everybody, we want to shut down the broadcast. We're going to be in the backstage. Good night, everybody. Subscribe to
All right, guys.
Zennie62, OaklandNewsNow.com. That